All right. Thanks again, everyone, for joining today's Digital Pioneers Inspirational Talk session, which starts, our very first one is with an amazing founder who's bridging the gap between the nail industry and using technology, so that she brings that innovation and change that the nail industry needs. I won't go through too much of about her background because all through this session you'll learn all about her journey and story. But please, everyone, welcome Polishpad founder Abisola Bright. Oh, you're on mute, Abby. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. Hi, everyone. It's lovely to meet you. Um, Let me just quickly share my screen. I do have a presentation for today. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect. In the corner. So, um, yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abisola Bright. I am the founder of Polishpad, and today I'm going to be talking through just talking a bit about my background, my journey as a digital pioneer. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions, drop them in the chat, and I will be more than happy to answer them at the end. So, who am I? As I mentioned, my name is Abisola Bright. I am a first class economics graduate. I before I launched Polishpad, I worked in the payments industry. I was doing project management, and I gained experience in financial management, strategic planning, and execution. And during my work in project management, I mean, when I was working my 9 to 5, I didn't actually see myself ever becoming a tech founder. I think that was probably the least job I could have ever seen myself doing. I'm not a techie at all, but I did have a passion for entrepreneurship. I just didn't ever think I would be building technology. I am also a former nail technician. As I've mentioned, I'm the founder of Polishpad. I'm non-technical, so I'm a non-technical founder, which means I can't code, I can't build myself. A project lead. I'm also a sister, a daughter, and an auntie. I am very passionate about women in business. I love a good escape room, and I do love nails, and I'm a devoted Christian. So this is my entrepreneurial journey so far. So my journey began in 2019 when I started out as a nail technician. So during my third year of university, I decided to learn to become a nail technician. I mean, I've always been interested in nails. I think every female has their thing, either it's makeup or hair or nails. My thing was nails. And I knew that I was always going to get into the industry, but I wasn't sure how I was going to get into the industry. So I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to open my own salon, whether I was going to become a nail technician, create my own nail products, but I knew that I was going to get into the nail industry some way, shape, or form. So during my third year of university, when I should have been focusing on my dissertation, I decided to become qualified, and then I started out in uni. So I was just doing nails for friends and not friends and family, yeah, friends at uni and family when I would come back home. And I that was my first ever experience of starting and running a business. And at that time, I was fortunate enough to have the support from my university. They had a program like this where I learned the basics, marketing, finances, and yeah, just everything around starting a business. I was fortunate enough to go from a university program, which yeah helped me get started. So I learned, sorry, how to become a nail tech just before lockdown. And then lockdown came and I said, do you know what? I can't trade at this point. Um, what am I going to do? I decided that I was going to create a directory. I did face problems when I first started out. So marketing my business, gaining new clients, it was hard. especially where you're not taught it and you have to learn it all. And then trying to build my skill, it was a lot. And I had those problems when I first started out, and then lockdown arrives and no nail technician could trade. And I said to myself, I do still want to stay in this nail industry, but how am I going to stay in this industry? So I decided to create a directory. And this directory was free. And the aim of the directory was so that customers, beauty clients could literally find a nail technician. And then the hope was that after lockdown, you would have more option. You'd find a nail technician on our directory, and then you'd prepare yourself for when we come out of lockdown. And you'd find talented nail technicians in your area. So I worked on that directory. It was a very plain, it was a very simple, sorry, WordPress site. And it did the job. It was very manual. I had to manually add all of the nail technicians on, add all of their photos. It was very manual, but it was lockdown. I had the time. I didn't mind doing it. And then the feedback that I got at that point was it's a bit annoying coming to the directory to try and find a nail technician. That's fine. I then have to go contact that nail technician via Instagram or Facebook. And then there's a lot of back and forth in the DMs. And then you might not end up booking with that nail tech, or they don't have availability. It just kind of became pointless having the directory without being able to book the nail tech through us. So I then said to myself, okay, what do I do next? And that's where I said, okay, I need to raise money. If I'm going to have a fully fledged booking system with payments and Nailtech's able to showcase their work and add in their availability, it is bigger than just a directory that I've built on WordPress. So I thought I need to go and raise money and build and hire a big team to get me to the next stage of the business. And that is where we'll go into some of the mistakes that I made. That's where I feel like it started to go downhill. I knew that at this point, I didn't know anything about fundraising. I didn't know anything about, to be fair enough, I didn't really know much about technology. The WordPress site that I had kind of did the job, and it was simple and easy to understand. So I decided to get myself a mentor from my university, and we sat down and broke down everything I needed to do and what the next step was. I then went to looking for an agency to help me build the website, and that went wrong. I didn't how do I say this? I didn't have the clear requirements in terms of this is exactly what I'm trying to build, this is the roadmap, and this is how much I've got to spend. And it set me back a year and a half. I then found new developers, and then we have Polishpad today. So it's been a bit of a bumpy road, but we managed to get there in the end. And from me being a nail technician to me having the booking system, we have now facilitated over 6,000 bookings for our platform. We were featured in the Startups 100 businesses in the UK last year. I have accessed over 40K in grant funding, and we are backed by Microsoft, Sky, Era, and other institutions. And now I'm focusing on growth and impact with Polishpad. So, why did I start Polishpad? As I just mentioned as well, I realized, I mean, I had some problems, and I didn't just say, okay, Abby has these problems as a nail tech, every other nail tech has these problems. I had to go and do my market research. And I found that many nail technicians rely on direct messages, or they use manual scheduling to manage their bookings, which isn't efficient. From speaking to a lot of nail technicians, especially during lockdown and doing surveys, I also found that they face a lot of double bookings, last minute cancellations. They're also always chasing deposits via DMs, and it wastes their time. And then when I looked into the booking systems that were currently on the market, none of them were built with nail technicians in mind. They're very generic. And so I said to myself, I'm going to create Polishpad. And Polishpad is the only booking system that's specifically designed for nail technicians. So we look at the problems that a nail technician faces compared to other beauticians, and we use that to build the features out on our platform. You can easily manage and track, well, nail technicians can easily manage and track their appointments, take deposits, and it has been built with love, but also built with real industry pain points in mind. So this is an example, or this is some screenshots of what the first ever Polishpad dashboard, shall I say, site looked like. So as you can see on the photo on the left, this is like a one page. So the nail technicians on our platform get a one page website where they can list all of their services, where they're based, some like a catalogue of their work, and people and customers booking a nail technician can also leave them a review. So that's what the customer sees. So if you're looking for a nail technician, if you're looking to book a nail technician, you would see the photo on the left hand side. And then on the right hand side is what the nail technician sees, which is a dashboard where they go in and they add in all of their work, so their treatments. So as you can see, in the screenshot, somebody has added in that they do gel extensions, and then they can categorize it and give details about that treatment. So how much the treatment is and how long it will take for that treatment to be carried out. So this is what I looked at in 2020. Very buggy, design is not great, but it does the job. And here we are in 2025, where we have a more sleek, minimalistic booking system. If you can see, compared to, so if you see on the left-hand side, that was the first ever, let's say, one-page website the nail technicians had. And if you can see in the middle, it's a bit more sleek, a bit more easier to understand, and there's a better user experience for people searching and looking for nail technicians. And it's just grown and evolved. So like you can, or a customer can see, okay, what does this service look like, how long it is, nail techs can add a description, and it has just grown arms and legs. I briefly mentioned some of the challenges that I faced when I started out. And I think the biggest three challenges that I faced is being a non-technical founder. So as you can see from the first screenshots, it was very buggy. I genuinely even believe it probably wasn't even workable. From going from finding a nail technician to trying to book one, there will be a bug somewhere along the journey, and you wouldn't actually end up being able to book. It was very buggy, and I couldn't code, so I didn't know what was right, what was wrong, how it should work, user experience. That was not my field, and at that time, I didn't have a co-founder as well. I mean, many tech businesses or many tech founders, when they start out, they get a co-founder that has some technical knowledge, and I didn't, and I really did struggle. So yeah, I would say number one problem was I didn't have a coding background. So trying to figure out what language I needed to code in was very, very hard. And then again, hiring the right developer was also very hard because I got it wrong the first time. But then when I did it again and did some research, I found two ladies that were amazing and helped me build my system to what it is today. I would say funding misconceptions. So when I first started, when I moved from the directory to the booking system, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to go and need to raise at least 500K to build this platform. And I spent a lot of time, instead of doing market research about the product in terms of what I'm trying to build, doing research in terms of these are the languages that I need to use, doing research on my competitors, I spent a lot of time researching how to get money. Even though I didn't know what I needed the money for, I just had this perception that in order to build what I needed to build, I need to get a big team, I need to have 5 developers, I need to have 2 social media managers, I need to have a finance director. And that was completely wrong. I wasted a lot of time and actually didn't end up, and that's a story for another day, but I didn't actually end up getting any funding, equity funding anyway. I went down the route of grants, which helped me reach my next milestone, which I feel like today was a blessing in disguise. And then I would say the next challenge I faced was managing growth and execution. So with the first website that I had, I think the biggest problem that I had is I was just focusing on building product. I was not getting enough feedback from nail technicians. I weren't bringing them on the journey with me. I was kind of building, and then I just thought on the launch I would have thousands and thousands of nail technicians ready to join my platform, and that doesn't work. Especially having limited resources and being new into the industry, I very early on found out that that's not how it works, and it's not just about building a product. It's about how you execute. How do you get people to believe in your vision, to be on board with your vision, and also to buy into your product. So over the last couple of years, I've identified from my experience what's important and what's not important. So for me, I believe that testing your ideas is very, very important. As I just mentioned, I built the product. I had a list of features that actually, when I look back today, the first few features that I built were not essential. And still today, most of the nail technicians on our platform don't actually use them because I just thought, oh, nail technicians would like to have a coupons page, or they would like to have that, as opposed to actually going out, speaking to nail technicians that are using other booking systems, or just speaking to nail technicians who could be my ideal customer. And I was speaking to nail technicians that were telling me things that I'd like to hear. And then when it came to launch day, they weren't actually my end customer. So testing your ideas and proving your concepts, building customers, and it's not just about having people on a mailing list, it's about actually speaking to those customers, because when launch day comes and it's time for them to pay, everybody that signed up and said, oh yeah, I'd love to be on your platform, where were they? So it's about actually building customers, building relationship, And what does that look like? That means, for me anyway, it was DMing them, checking in with them, providing them with material that actually was useful to them. So, I mean, I was providing them with nail education. We created a viral competition called Battle of the Nail Techs that's seen over 600 nail techs across the UK participate. We've got really good relationships with celebrity nail technicians. And just building an ecosystem of relationships with potential customers is very important. And iterative feedback. So now we don't have a we actually don't have a roadmap. And the reason why I stopped having a roadmap is because I wanted to be as agile as possible. I want to build based off what the nail technicians tell me. So what we do is, or what I currently do now is we have a WhatsApp group chat and we have a monthly Zoom call where nail technicians who want to contribute towards the next features that are going to be built, jump on there and we have a talk about this is what I'm thinking of building, what do you think, what's important to you, what are the problems you're having. So actually just building based on what the nail technicians want to see, as opposed to just building and then trying to sell or trying to sell that to your customers. Building supply relationships. I think that's the best thing I could have ever done. I have really great relationships with nail brands in the industry. I had to sit down and figure out, okay, I'm new into this nail industry. Who are the key players in this industry? And I realized that for me, it was nail brands. And through the competition that we ran during lockdown, I was able to get amazing, amazing sponsors. And they gave prizes, donated prizes, money to the competition, and it helped me build a relationship with them. They were promoting Polishpad, and Polishpad was promoting their nail brands, and we were just. It was a really good. That was a really good thing that we did, and yeah, today I still have those supply relationships. And improving your product or service. You've seen the screenshot that I showed you. The first version was a mess, and it just wasn't great. And at that point, I could have given up. I mean, the first website I built, I spent about 15,000 on it, and it's not in use today. I look at it, some people might say that's £15,000 wasted, and I look at that as experience. I know what I did wrong. And so then when I was finding my new developers, I knew what to do right. I knew that that design was important. I needed a UX UI design. It wasn't just about a backend developer. It was, how does it look? How pretty is it? How's the customer experience? So improving your product. I honestly, you have to start somewhere. And I didn't start with a pretty beautiful coded website. I started very basic, buggy, and you just have to keep improving. And I'm a big advocate of continuous improvement. Now, what's not important for me is writing endless business plans. I mean, when I first started out, I did write a business plan with my university. Have I looked at it since then? Probably not, but that's because the business has evolved. And when I first started, I was writing a business plan for me doing nails, not for the booking system. But I do try to look at it maybe once a year or twice a year. Don't know whether that's a good or bad thing, but I just feel like sometimes you've got to be agile and sometimes you've got to let the market show you what you should do rather than being so rigid in this is my business plan, I have to stick to it and I have to do what it says. I think with a business plan, you have to more have it as the base, the foundation, and then work on it. Needless meetings. When I first started, I thought it was all about going to every single event, blocking my calendar out with speaking to so many people, and I was just wasting time. So yeah, don't really need needless meetings. Weeks of brainstorming. I would sit down with loads of pens and papers and just be writing and just brainstorming. Oh, this is how I could do this, and this is how I could do that, and this is how I could do this, and this is how I could do that. I don't think you need weeks and weeks. Literally, my biggest thing is just start and improve. Months and months of development. When I told people that it took us a year and a half to launch our MVP, everyone tells me I'm crazy, and I do think that's crazy because an MVP should be minimal, viable, and I think a year and a half is too long. What was taken so long? There's for me, it was clearly there was something wrong that I had left it too late, and at the end of that year and a half, I had no product, or I had a product that I couldn't use. It wasn't scalable. So you don't need months and months of development, especially for an MVP. Hiring a big team. See, I never hired a big team, but I did go for an agency. And I said, I need an agency. I had a full-time social media manager. And it's crazy because I think about it now and I'm like, I had a full-time social media manager, but I had no product. So what was I promoting? Why did I need a social media manager? I mean, I did need one, but did I need one full-time? No, I probably should have invested in a high quality developer, a freelance developer, and got up and running and then hired a social media manager. So when you're starting out, I don't think you need a big team personally. a big advocate of small teams. And finding a co-founder. I mean, I do have a co-founder now, and he came along the journey 3 years into me building. I didn't have one at the beginning. So I don't think you need to start with one. If you do have one, I think it's a blessing. If you don't have one, I started without one and I was still able to launch without one. So I actually launched the product before he came along. So I don't think you need to find a co-founder to start. Some of the key lessons I've also learned is that yeah, you need to solve the real problem. When I first started speaking to investors, they weren't really sure what the problem I was solving. And I knew the problem I was solving, but I wasn't really, I don't think I was, what's the word, conveying what the problems were. It was just more a nice to have. Oh, it's just nice to find a nail technician for our platform. But I wasn't really understanding what is the problem at hand. And I think when I was trying to sell Polishpads to nail technicians, because I was going in with, oh, we're just different because we're a booking system that is specialized for nail technicians, what does that mean? When I changed my narrative and said, actually, other booking systems don't have X, Y, and Z features, and these are how these features can help you increase your revenue, cut down on your admin time. Now I'm speaking their language. Now a nail technician's looking at me like, oh, I can see why joining Polishpad or spending my money on a subscription with Polishpad can actually help me grow or cut down on my admin time. And it's surrounding yourself with the right people. I actually have been fortunate enough to have the same mentor for the last 4 years, and I mean, I was going to give, I think it was about 20, I wanted 20,000 of investment for about 50% of my business. And that would have been the biggest mistake I probably would have ever made had I not had a mentor that stepped in and said to me, Abby, no, I'm not going to let you do it. I'm going to say no on this one. And at that time, I was really upset. I thought, um, why is he stopping me from getting this money? He doesn't want to see me grow. But I look at it now and I'm like, that would have been the most silliest mistake. So get yourself a mentor, surround yourself with other founders. I know there's um, everyone on this call and people on LinkedIn, and there's so many communities where you can find people that are doing amazing things. And just speaking to people can also help. And execution is more important than having a perfect plan. I mean, I mentioned briefly around the competition that I ran during lockdown, and I thought about the competition on a Thursday, and I started it on Monday. And as the years have gone by, we've had the first year we had no sponsors, then we had sponsors, then we had monetary sponsorship, then we had celebrity nail techs as our judges, and it's just grown. I could have sat down and said, you know, I'm going to plan this for 6 months, and then and it probably might not have, I probably might not have ended up doing it. And I'm not saying don't plan, but I'm saying also executing, just trying stuff and going through it and then iterating on the way, I would say is my thing. So these are just some of the key wins and milestones that I've had today. I've like I said, I've raised over £40,000 in grants. So I didn't go down the equity route from various places. And these funds obviously helped me grow Polishpad, and it helped me build a strong foundation. And I am a fan of doing a lot with little. So that now when I am going for equity funding, I know, okay, this is what's working with my social media, and this is what's working with development, and these are the features I need. And actually, I could do with a part-time admin person, or I could do with another full-time developer. So sometimes starting small and having access to grants can help take you to the next level. And these grants has obviously helped me with building the platform, hiring somebody to come in and help me with branding, a UX UI designer, and they have been freelancers because I think there's certain roles that you don't always need, but you do need them to. You do need people to come in at different points of your journey to help you do different things. Um, I da, 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 da. Another thing that I would say is really great is strategic partnerships. I would say there are loads of people doing different things, and I do think collaboration is a big thing. So I've collaborated with other business owners, I've collaborated with nail technicians, I've collaborated with nail brands. I think collaboration is a big thing, and building strategic partnerships. I might have something that another business needs, and another business might have something that I need. And so, yeah, I'm a big believer of strategic partnerships and yeah, adding value as well as adding value whilst also wanting to get value from somebody else. And I am a, I always say patience is a big thing. None of these things happened overnight. I always say as well, I'm just starting out. I haven't even begun. I probably moved from zero to one. and it's taken me a couple of years to get to one. But I do feel like you have to just continuously learn. Like I said, I am the least techiest person you'll ever meet. But one thing I am is I'm persistent. And I'm resilient. I mean, trying to teach myself, or try and really understand Canva, trying to really understand CapCut and all these things. I always want to learn. I want to learn how to do stuff, and do things that pushes me out of my comfort zone. Um, and like I said, Polishpad is still evolving. We're still at, I would say, the beginning. We haven't even touched the surface at all. But I think um, these wins come when you're persistent and you're resilient. So my advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, I would say you should start when you don't even feel ready. Like I said, don't come from, I didn't, I studied economics at university, didn't study computer science. Um, And if I had sat down and actually thought about, oh my God, I need to go and learn about finance and business and all these things before I start, and I would just never have started. And I still don't feel ready. And I'm honestly, the first time I ever pitched, I wasn't ready. My first ever pitch was diabolical. But I refined it and I got feedback and I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And I've got loads of no's, but as you start to improve and see where you're going wrong, you start to get some yeses. As always, focusing on a real world problem, and build your network early, whether that's mentors, advisors, like minded people, and learn to adapt. I think, if anything, number one and number four, sorry, is the biggest, learning to adapt. It went from Abby being a nail tech to a directory to a booking system, and who knows what it's going to end up being. And there are other examples of other businesses that also adapt. I mean, look at Amazon, how that started off, and look at what it is today. So yeah, you can pivot. I mean, now we're trying to, even at Polishpad, we're trying to go into education, now education, having courses. Who knows? I'm always looking at, what do my customers need? How can I add value? How can I pivot? How can I adapt? How can I make it better? So yeah, just adjusting quickly and not being left behind. AI is on the rise right now. How can I add AI to the platform? How can I use AI to make the platform more smoother, more sleeker for both customers and nail technicians? So yeah, adapting, learning to adapt is, yeah, a big thing for me, and staying consistent. At the core of everything we do, we're a booking system, and we, I mean, my ethos is, we're always, we're friendly. That's like our brand voice. We're friendly. We're down to earth. We're there to support the nail technicians, and I think we've been like that. Or our messaging has been the same since the beginning. Everything we do is about helping the nail technicians, supporting them, and with the aim of them seeing us as if we're their big sister, somebody that's there to help them. So just staying consistent in whatever you do, a lot of people will see that, and you will get there in the end. So thank you for listening, and I hope that's been very helpful. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Abby. We did have like a question on the chat while you were going through the slides. Should I read it out? It's from Adrian. You mentioned that you were looking for funding instead of doing market research. Would you say doing market research is one of the most important aspects of building your business?
Yeah, 100%. Because I realized that so for example, within your target audience, there is also a target audience. So even when I was speaking to nail technicians, I wasn't speaking to the right nail technicians. So I think you need to do thorough market research. You really need to understand, what are my competitors doing? Really understand, what does a potential customer actually want? What are they looking for? Where are they? And really understanding what they want, and actually building a customer profile. Like, this is where my ideal nail technician, this is their wants, this is their needs, these are the problems, these are their pain points, and really doing your market research. And I feel like, had I done that, as opposed to going to look for funding, I would really have understood, this is what it takes to build a booking system. These are the basic features that every booking system needs to have. I should have gone on the Trustpilot and read reviews. What are other booking systems not doing well? And really done thorough research. And I've done that over the years once I've realized, but I feel like it would save you a lot of time and money if you do it at the beginning.
We have another question from a non-tech background. How did you find budgeting forecasting for your tech costs?
See, numbers and finances are not my thing at all. And that's why I brought my co-founder in. But at the beginning, I honestly, I had no idea. I really didn't understand at the beginning how much money it would take to build my platform. And the reason why I say this is I just focused on the back end. So you can see from the first screenshot that I showed, it was just more, I tried to just focus on it working. But now I realized that I needed, or at the beginning, I didn't factor in UX UI designers. I didn't factor in a project manager. I didn't factor in a front end developer. There was a, yeah. So at the beginning, I just found an agency and focus on the back end, and I was completely off. Another thing that I went that was really bad was that I did it on a project basis. So when I was halfway through development and I started talking to more nail technicians, I realized, oh my gosh, all of these features that I've so I've reached out to this agency and they've given me a quote, and these are the features they said that they're going to go for, that they're going to do. I reached halfway through, this was probably maybe 9 months into development, and said all of the features that I realized that are the basics that I need to have, I'm not building them. I'm building completely wrong features and I can't change this. This is the agreement that we've had. Um, and so, yeah, I then obviously went to the agency to ask how much would it be to do all of these other features. And yeah, they were quoting me as an example, to change a photo on the homepage. It was like something like 250, and that was such a small thing to do just to change a photo, £250. So you can imagine me now asking for an actual feature. I completely forecasted wrong. And I think now what I do is I do things on a feature basis. So I go and get a quote. I get a quote, I get my developer to estimate it for me, and then I decide whether or not I look at the impact, how many people actually want this, how long is it going to take, what's the cost, and what's the return on investment. But yeah, at the beginning, I genuinely, it was a case of found an agency, the first agency, can you do it? Yes. What's the cost? Paid for it. So yeah, I was completely off when it came to budgeting for that.
Sarah has a not a question, but more of a comment. I've never thought about that before. Within your target audience is a target audience. It's a good point. Also, being able to pivot is essential. A
Yeah.
good keyword for us to remember. And if someone gets stuck in their business journey, oh, if you have any advice for getting unstuck.
Unstuck. Um, oh, yes. So I actually recently, I recently was stuck actually, because I was trying to figure out what is the best, what content is sticking with my customers. What am I doing? I felt like I was doing a lot. I was getting burnt out because I'm doing so much. I was doing so much, and I said to myself, I'm going to go back to basics. I'm going to open up an Excel document. I'm going to write down every single activity I'm doing within Polishpad, and I'm going to do the impact. Has it worked? Did it not work? What was the return on investment? Should I continue doing it? Yes or no? So I think my piece of advice would literally be just writing down a list of, if you are stuck on something, like, so in this case, why am I stuck? Or what is the problem? Can I solve it? If not, who can help me with it? Is what I would say you should do. I mean, for me, I mean, my scenario was a bit different because I was like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Should I go down the route of education? Should I do more competitions? I had to just sit down, put an Excel document out and say, and analyze everything I'm doing. And that helped me see, okay, this is where if I just did a bit of this, oh, I could do that. Sometimes when you're just thinking about it and you can't visualize it, I'm a very visual learner, so I need to see things. I need to see things and things will start making sense. And also speak to somebody more time if I get stuck on something, like for example, I'm trying to prioritize what's the next feature, I'll speak to my developer or I'll speak to the nail tech. Sometimes you're just trying to think about yourself, especially because you're in the business all the time, you might have like clouded judgment. But speaking to somebody who has no affiliation to your business at all and hearing their perspective might also help as well if you are stuck.
That's really good advice. I have one, and it's for just because a lot of the startup owners that we work with often there's uh mis I guess a misconception that sometimes having a social media presence is enough. With a business like yours, which is basically a platform, a website
Yes.
platform, what would you say are the top three things that they should look out for in terms of building a website? Because like it's very important for search. We all know that. But like, what are the three key things with a limited
Money.
budget? Like, for example, you can't go to an agency. You're trying to do it on your own. But what would be those three things to look out for in building website presence?
So do you mean in terms of getting your website out there, people to know your bit?
Yes.
Um, I would say, um, uh, so I do think social media is a good is a good is a good is great. It's just how you use it. So I was actually struggling to connect to my social media or move people from social media to my website. So what I started to do was my call to action would always my call to action, sorry, would always relate people or take people to the website. So let's say, for example, we are running a competition. I would post about the competition on our social media and say, in order to sign up for more information, go to our website. So I'm linking people back, and just having that connection between the two, I think is very helpful. So yeah, I think definitely how you utilize your social media. Um, I would say number two would be how have I gotten people to our website? Um, I mean, a lot of people do like sign up to a mailing list and they put that on their Instagram. No, I've always done go to our website. Um, I mean, SEO, I think you just mentioned. I would say it's a hard one. I would say SEO, social media, and yeah, I would say probably SEO and social media would be the biggest two. And whatever post, I mean, if you're doing it yourself on a low budget, whatever post you're doing, I would say that's been the biggest one for me. Always relay people back to your website.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I hope that's helpful for the young founders who are here in the call. Do you have any other questions from other members of the people in the call? I guess that's it for our session today. Yeah. And again, thank you so much, Abby, for doing this. And we
Yeah.
hope to maybe get you as one of the mentors later on in the program as well. But
Amen.
just to yeah, again, thanks for supporting us for
Well,
today, and also for everyone who's in the program or who's only joined in today. If you haven't signed up to the full program, just to let you know, you just need to book in a quick call with one of the Launchit team members who will match you up with a mentor. Whether you're working in the Launchit hubs or outside the Launchit hubs, you're all welcome to join. And towards the end of the program, you get to pitch for funding. Just go to the website launchit.org.uk/digital pioneers. And our next session would be on the 2nd of April, which is with a branding agency founder, Louis Alexander Baxter, which is helping you build your digital toolkit and yeah, boosting your digital presence. Yeah. So thank you so much again, Abby, and
welcome.
everyone for joining the call.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.